But tonight we have a special guest speaker. It's the first time I've really kind of went a little bit differently in our training call tonight. But I'm very, very, very fortunate to have with us tonight TJ Hoisington. And let me tell you, everybody knows the name Hoisington because when I first went to Oregon and in Seattle, wound up really some of the first people I brought in the business was Stan Hoisington and then Steve, which all of us know who Steve is out there. Well, TJ just happens to be his brother. And TJ's involved in LegalShield, but he really has a formative background. And I just want to read you a little bit about TJ. I've got my glasses on, believe it or not. I'm going to actually make an attempt to give you some information who really TJ Hoisington is. He's an author, he's a speaker, consultant, publisher, and entrepreneur. He is the author of the international best-selling book, If You Think You Can, 13 Laws That Govern the Performance of High Achievers. So he's going to talk to you tonight about becoming much better than what you are right now. And it's sold in over 34 countries. He's also the author of If You Think You Can for Teens, helping the kids out there today, and also The Secret of the Slight Edge. Additionally, he has co-authored numerous leadership and mindset development curriculums, including the Success Formula and the Power of Unconventional Leadership. TJ's experience on peak performance, what we call the achiever mindset, leadership and personal excellence, have been shared with many organizations all over the world today, including Seattle's Best Coffee, and the U.S. Air Force, the Office of the Surgeon General, and numerous other companies, okay, including schools and nonprofit organizations. His high energy speaking style has brought invitations to speak in front of audiences around the world, including Malaysia, Budapest, Germany, Taiwan, and more, and even Dawsonville, Georgia. How about that? No, I'm just kidding. Whether he speaks to an audience of 10 executives or 15,000 business owners, or frontline employees, his objective is the same: provide inspiration and tools that will help people in the organization unleash their greatness within. This guy's a pretty phenomenal guy. Every time I've ever met him, and we've had him speak at a couple of our breakout sessions over the years in Oklahoma and so forth. Probably going to actually invite him back for that. But tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we got a special treat because this guy's done some pretty phenomenal things. One of the most positive people that I've ever met, and he's just doing just really getting people focused on really the dream and building a successful business and what it really takes to do that. And I want everybody to keep in mind tonight, he is an associate in LegalShield tonight, and we're really proud to have him on the call. So TJ, I hope I did a pretty good job of introducing you tonight, and we're just going to turn it over to you and let you talk to our associates all over the country and Canada tonight. So welcome to the call.
Thank you very much, Mr. Savula. This is great. It's wonderful to be with all of you. I've put some thoughts together, but let me start by just saying this is a wonderful time of the year. And so for you that prefer Merry Christmas, I say Merry Christmas. And for you that prefer Happy Holidays, I say Happy Holidays. We live in the greatest country in the world. A chance to create businesses and live the way we want to live and worship the way that we want to worship and think the way that we want to think. And hopefully that never changes. We are so blessed, and what a great time of the year to connect with others and share our joys with other people. And I'm just happy to be a part of this wonderful opportunity to speak with you tonight. And I appreciate Mr. Dave Savula. One thing you may not know about Mr. Savula is I met, it was I think 19 years ago when I first met Mr. Savula, and I was enthralled, and it was exciting, and he had all kinds of energy, but really he showed a vision of what was possible, and I thought that was pretty awesome. And it would be years later, after working with Tony Robbins, that I would reach out to Mr. Savula and ask for a little bit of help. I was in a dark moment at that time, and I began to write a book, and that book I wrote in the back seat of my car. And as I was finishing that book, I thought, you know what, I'm going to send a copy to Mr. Savula and maybe he'll endorse it. Well, to make a long story short, because of his connection and his belief in me and a belief in that book I was writing, I was fortunate in 2005 to speak at the National Convention at the request of Harlan C. Stonecipher, which was amazing. And that book was published. It's called If You Think You Can. And it's now sold, as was mentioned, in 34 different countries. And I've been very blessed. But I will say, in total transparency, that Mr. Savula was a great part of that, who was able to help me make the connection. And I'm just thankful for Dave, a good friend, for reaching out to me at a time when I really needed it. And you know, as a message to all of you, we all need people in our lives that believe in us, that see something in us. And that goes both sides, right? We need to be able to look into other people in the business, out of the business, whatever you're doing, whatever your goals are, to breathe life in other people and build them up and see value in them. We all need each other. Nobody gets to the top alone. And after all my research, now a solid 15 years of research and writing several books, I've just been humbled by how often it is that I realize this basic fundamental truth, and that is this: extraordinary people are ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And I could give you example after example, and we just don't have time in today's call for me to do that. Example of potential, normal, average people doing amazing things, and that amazes me. For 20 years, I've been telling the story about a man by the name of Cliff Young. And he's an Australian, and he worked on a farm. And all his years, he didn't use a plow. Everything he did on his feet. And so some buddies came to him and said, hey, there's this famous ultra marathon that happens every year where people run from Melbourne to Sydney, 586 miles. It takes 6 to 7 days to run. It's a full-on ultra marathon. And they came to him and they said, we think you ought to enter this run. And Cliff Young was 60 years old at the time. And he, decided maybe I should go ahead and do that. And he got excited about it and he began to condition a little bit. But here's the beautiful thing. He didn't know what the rules were for professional running. And you got to think at that time, and still today, the athletes at their peak level, 25-year-olds, 35-year-olds, 45-year-olds come from all over the world to run in this marathon. And here is Cliff Young, who is going to run it along with these professionals. And guess what? He began to run. But because sometimes ignorance is bliss, he didn't know what the professional rules were for long distance running. He didn't know that you were supposed to take a break and sleep for 6 hours. You see, the belief at the time was an ultra marathoner would run 18 hours and then sleep for 6. Well, Cliff Young didn't know that. So when he would get tired through the night, he would just pull off to the side of the road. He would eat a little bit of nuts, eat a little bit of fruit, drink a little bit of water. He would sit down, maybe even take a 20-minute cat nap, and then he would get back up and keep running. Well, you're not going to believe it. To make it a long story short, Cliff Young ended up, I think it was in 1980, he broke the all-time record by winning that race. He beat all the professionals. And he didn't just beat the record by a few minutes or a few seconds, even a few hours. He beat the record by a stunning 24 hours. To me, that is amazing. And he broke a paradigm. And now thousands have done it just as fast. It's unbelievable how someone can shift the mindset. And you know what? Mr. Savula and other leaders on the call are regularly helping you do that in your business if you will listen to them and if you will model them. But I love the stories of high achievement, to think that a whole belief system can be changed. At the time they slept 6 hours a night, and Cliff Young slept 3.5 hours on the average. It's just amazing what someone can do when they put their mind to it. And I'm always in awe of that. I love the poem by Ernest Henley. He said, out of the night that covers me, black is the pit from pole to pole. I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. You know, Ernest Hemingway had lost his left leg to tuberculosis, and he was in the Royal Infirmary and was about to lose his right leg. In his darkest moment, he wrote that poem. And I'm just amazed by high achievement. I've studied it for a long time now. And there's some fundamentals that I have found that I thought, you know what would be of most value to you tonight? What could I share with you that could make a difference in your world? And so I'm going to bullet point this. And if you're taking notes, I would encourage you to do so, because you never know when one good idea could change everything for you. See, it was one idea that changed everything for me. If you've read If You Think You Can, you maybe know this story. I walked in my dad's bedroom as a 15-year-old, and we had a big family, 8 kids. My dad was in the Army. Sometimes finances were a little bit tight. And I walk in his bedroom one day, and on his dresser, there was a tape. It was a copy tape, and in my dad's handwriting, on one side it said, "The day that turned my life around," and on the other side it said, "How to live financially independent." I was blown away by that tape. I picked it up, I put it in my pocket, and I took it upstairs, and I began to listen to that tape up in the bedroom I shared with my brothers, and they would make fun of me and say, "Why would you listen to a tape of some guy talking?" But you know, the words that Jim Rohn spoke on that tape as a 15-year-old changed my paradigm. It changed my thinking. So I know the power of learning and applying that knowledge, and the power that it can have one simple idea. So let's just run through a couple thoughts that I've prepared for you today. And I've done it in a very simple way. I'm going to share with you the D's of success. D's as in the word dog, okay? So these are the D's of success that will make the biggest difference in your level of achievement. And I'll mix in a few things in between, but here they are. I actually have in front of me a little flyer that we put together called the 5 D's of success. And on the backside, it says a discourse on greatness. Anyway, so here's the first D. Number 1, you must have desire. A burning desire is what Napoleon Hill talked about in his book, Think and Grow Rich. You've got to have ambition. As I go around the world, I meet so many people that don't have the ambition that moves them to take action, if you will. So you've got to have that burning desire. Number 2, you must define what it is that you want. You know, if you're not clear about what it is you want, then you'll become what Zig Ziglar called a wandering generality. And you know, the truth is, most people are wandering generalities. And if you don't know what it is you want, you'll never know when you've arrived. Here's the beautiful thing about life is that we're constantly filtering our world. And you can find in your world, if you're clear, you can find all the evidence in your world to make that possibility true for you. You can find the evidence. There's evidence all over the place that will prove to you and show you that you've got what it takes, that you can achieve your dreams and your goals. Because I know what it's like. You're out starting a new business. Some of you on this call tonight, maybe you've never run your own business before. You've never had to go out and be ambitious the way that it's required to a degree to be successful at this business. Get out and talk to people. Maybe that's out of your comfort zone, those kinds of things. But I'll tell you, if you'll define the goal that you want, I tell you what, all of a sudden you'll notice the resources, the opportunities that will show up, that will lead you down the path that you need to go to be successful. The next D, D number 3, is you must decide. So once you have the desire, and once you've decided, or once you've defined what it is that you want to accomplish, you've got to make a true decision. You know what? That is chapter 2 in If You Think You Can. Everything boils down to free agency, the ability to make a choice, the ability to decide. And high achievers make a decision and they go full throttle. They 100%. They burn the ships behind them and they go for it. Now you got to find where the balance is in your life. But I'm just telling you from the research is that getting focused and making that decision. Now, I remember a time in my life early on when I was struggling and I was discouraged and I wasn't sure which route to take and what would be smart and would I make the biggest blunder and biggest failure was at a time when I had started a couple companies in my 20s. They were doing well. And then I thought, I got to move closer to my vision and my goals. And I thought, I'm going to go interview with Stephen Covey and Tony Robbins. And I remember one night, if you read If You Think You Can, the story's in there again. I called a man by the name of Charlie Tremendous Jones. And Charlie told me something that night on that 45-minute phone call I had with him, which I'm indebted to him for that phone call. We spent 45 minutes and he taught me a lot that evening at 1 o'clock in the morning. But one thing he said that helped me make a decision, and maybe this might be beneficial to you, is I told him my fears of leaving these successful businesses, making good money, having a little nest egg that I had already been able to produce, and put it all away and go work for someone else for a season. I wasn't sure. I was scared. We had a 1-year-old at the time, and I wasn't sure what to do. And maybe some of you are there now or have been there. Well, here's what Charlie Tremendous Jones said to me that night. He said, TJ, you were not born to make right or wrong decisions. You were born to make decisions and then make them right. Let me say that again. You were not born to make right or wrong decisions. You were born to make decisions and then make them right. You know what? It wasn't that there's no such thing that there's a right or wrong decision, because in life there are. But many people don't take a step forward and achieve their dreams and live the life of their dreams and unleash their greatness within because they don't make a decision, right? Here's what I've learned about life is that you don't have to be perfect to succeed. You don't have to be at the top to succeed. You don't have to be given a fortune or an inheritance to succeed. That if you will decide, if you'll get clear about your vision, if you'll maintain that burning desire, I tell you what, you can adjust along the way. You can maneuver along the way. You can make a mistake today, and I found that life is very forgiving. You can make a mistake today, and you can fix it today. You can fix it tomorrow. You can get back on the path. If you get off the path and you get a little bit discouraged, I challenge you, get back on the path and make sure. Anyway, we'll get to that D in a second. So the fourth D is, once you have decided what you're going to go after and what that plan is going to be for your life, then the next D is you must dwell on it. It must be a burning thought in your mind constantly. As I've studied high achievers, they cannot get their thoughts off that ideal. They cannot get their thoughts off the vision that they have for whatever their plan is or whatever their hopes and dreams are. And you've got to be the same way. It's got to be on your mind, in a sense, 24/7. And as you do that, you'll start finding the opportunities and the resources that will help you move closer to achieving that goal. The fifth D is, once you've decided what it is you're going to do, then you need to drive. So D number 5 is drive. You need to take action. You must execute on your goals. Here's what I've learned. You can't even ask the right questions until you start taking a step here and a step there. You can't even start to filter the information that you need that will move you forward if you don't take the first and second step. So the key, and I got to tell you, with all the books that I've written, they haven't been easy. It's been tough, but I will tell you, it's one letter at a time. It's one word at a time. And if you will work, and I tell you what, I'm sure there's people that can write books 100 times faster than me. It takes me a lot of time to write a book, but I put my heart in it, I put my meaning in it, and I take my time and I think through every sentence that I put in, and I reflect on it. And I get discouraged sometimes because I get a block in my mind and I just want to give up in a sense, but I really don't, because as I lay down on my bed and I put my head on my pillow and all I can think about is the result of having that book out there in the marketplace and the lives that it potentially may change. And I've had thousands of letters sent to me over the years and emails and social media. It's been amazing. So let me give you a couple other D's that I normally don't share. So I'm giving you some insights that maybe I don't share in terms of the D's. Here's some extra D's that I thought I'd share with you tonight. And one is discipline. You must discipline yourself to work the system that's already been proven. Your leaders are out teaching you those systems already. You don't need me to teach you the system. You don't need someone that maybe hasn't been in the business too long, that's not succeeding necessarily, to teach you. Although if they're duplicating what's working, then I would suggest that you do it. But the key is get to your events, go to the meetings, do it regularly. And as you do that, you will be giving the data that you need in terms of knowledge, and then it's your job to discipline yourself to apply that knowledge. Right? You don't go to the meetings to be the smartest guy or lady in the room. You go to the meetings so that you are given the tools so that you can move forward. And that comes down to discipline. That means you come home inspired. You get off this call tonight. Maybe some of you are going to be inspired, I hope. You take the ideas what I say isn't as powerful as the thoughts that are going through your head as I say what I say. So maybe you're taking notes on something that maybe I've touched a little part of you that means something. My hope for you is that you would then turn and have discipline to make that a reality, to make that a habit. You see, there's the old acronym of CASH, right? KASH, knowledge, attitude, skills, and habits. And if I were to choose any one of those, you know which one I would choose after studying all these high achievers? I would choose habits. I want to make the knowledge and the skills and the attitude a habit where I don't even have to think about it anymore, that it's natural and it's free flowing and it's like me to succeed and it's like you to succeed, right? It's getting it into your thinking. And so discipline has to do with learning and then applying. And you want to regularly show up for practice, if you will. If you're an athlete, you're going to regularly show up for practice. And you're going to drill, and you're going to repeat, and you're going to show up again, and a new idea is going to come, and one idea will change your life better than another idea will. So I commend you for regularly going to those meetings. I would invite you to continue going to your meetings, and they will make a difference for you, and then apply what you learn. The next D is discomfort. You know, part of going out of your comfort zones in life, and maybe you've been in a career of some sort for 30 years, and now you've branched out and you've got the vision and you're excited to try something new. And you know what? As a side note, I know that there are naysayers out there. No matter what business you do, there are going to be naysayers. Oftentimes they're the closest people to you. And it's just because they can't see the vision for you. They can't see the vision sometimes and oftentimes for themselves. And some people tend to gravitate towards security over a great life of possibility. And that's what I love, is being able to write about this. And that's my hope, is that I unleash a little part of everybody that unleashes their greatness within to believe a little bit more, to believe in possibilities, because possibilities are available to everybody, no matter your hardship or your dysfunctions or challenges. It's possible for you. So a little bit of discomfort is okay. Have faith. Be okay with feeling a little bit out of your comfort zone. Here's what happens. Discomfort comes from when you have an ideal image of what you want way up here, and it's different from where your current reality is, your current comfort zone, if you will. And so the difference from where you are today and where you would ultimately like to be creates a gap. It creates a space. In that space, that is a beautiful place to be. That is a positive place to be. When you study high achievers, you find that they made some of their best breakthroughs during that gap. That cognitive dissonance. And your job is to close the gap. Now, here's naturally what some people will do out of fear. They have an ideal up here, and then they have their current reality, but when they start to feel a little bit of anxiety, tension, feedback, they resort back to their current reality and say, this isn't for me. I can't do this. I wasn't born with the talents that are necessary to do this, or whatever excuse that they're making. But I encourage you to set your goals high and then know ahead of time that you're going to have to endure some discomfort. But if you'll endure that discomfort for a period of time, this ideal that you've set up for yourself up here will eventually become your new comfort zone. And then it's free flowing. And then it's like you to succeed. Then it's like you to talk to people. Then it's like you to be confident, right? But you've got to be okay with, for a season, feeling that discomfort, all right? Discomfort. 2 more. Achievers want to dominate. So the next D is dominate, right? You're not trying to compete with the neighbor. You're not trying to compete with your family members. You're just trying to dominate in the marketplace. You're trying to dominate when it comes to living your dreams. And you know what? You're not going to take a backseat to anybody. I was watching a movie one day about segregation or something, and one of the young boys got on the back of the bus, and another boy said to him, I mean, this is 20 years back. I watched this movie. I don't remember which one it was. And the young boy on the bus, speaking to another boy, said, hey, if you sit on the back of the bus too long, you'll think you belong there. And I say to you, you don't belong in the back of the bus, unless that's where you want to be. And you have greatness within you to dominate, to take quantum leaps. And I would say, go for it, all right? But it's going to take some work. It's going to take some discipline. And let me get this is the last D that I'm going to give you. It's a misnomer. And that is, I have an old article here that says the key to success is not talent, study finds, okay? And one thing I've learned as I've researched this is throughout the decades, the one distinction they have found that equals high achievement or leads to high achievement is one word, and that is determination. Determination makes the difference. In Benjamin Bloom's study some 40 years ago, he did a lot of research out of the University of Pennsylvania. And of recent, Angela Duckworth is doing a lot of research on the same study, I think from the same university. And they both found the same thing. And it basically is determination is what makes the difference. They studied 120 of the top athletes, actors, scientists of 120 different fields. They picked the top that they could find in every area. And what they did is they did some anonymous studies. They followed them around, and the only pattern they found to be consistent was determination. In fact, when they studied the parents of those high achievers, you know what the parents said? The parents said that it was actually the other brother or the sister that actually had the natural talent or gifts, but they didn't use it, right? Maybe you know people like that. Maybe they're the naysayers in your world. You think to yourself, but you're the one that has all the talent and the gusto, and you can go make it happen. But it's the one that doesn't have the talent, it's right, that doesn't have all the gifts and all the talents that makes it. It's that drive. It's that determination that makes the difference. And that's what they have found over and over and over. You see, the easier it is to be good, the more difficult it is to be great. And so I would encourage you, no matter what your thoughts are and what you're thinking, and if the business or an opportunity is possible for you, I say, with faith, believe. Believe that it's possible, and make sure that belief leads you to action. As I've traveled the world, I have found that there are some that show up at every meeting, but it doesn't lead to action. Make sure that your study and your personal development leads to action. And when do you do personal development? You do it every day. Every day you're filling your mind. Every day you're filling your mind with thoughts of inspiration and hope and desire. And by doing that, you'll be better prepared, but you have to act on it. That's going to be the key. The separator is the one that's willing to determine themselves into action. And I would encourage you tonight to make sure that you discipline yourself. I've got just a couple minutes, and so I'm just going to share this in closing. Sometimes when you feel like you're breaking down, maybe what you're really doing is breaking through. And I would say duplication is the key. Learn the system and just duplicate it. Learn the system from your leaders and go do it. Trust what they're saying. They have taken those steps before you, and I've seen it work. I've seen it work in my brother's lives as he went to one national convention, and all of a sudden he heard someone say something that he had heard in previous, national conventions and trainings, but he had pushed back on it a little bit, and then at one convention, he just decided, I'm going to do it. And Steve did it, and he duplicated the system. And his business took off. And he tells me in private, maybe he's told some of you in public, I don't know. But he says, my business took off. My business took off because I started to duplicate the system. I didn't try to recreate something new. And I just share that with you as a testimony. But sometimes you think you're breaking down, but really you're breaking through. I love this quick story. We all know who Chuck Yeager was, who broke the sound barrier some years ago. He launched the era of the supersonic flight in October 14th, 1947, when he cracked the sound barrier and its invisible brick wall. Some scientists had hard data that the barrier could not be penetrated. Others direly predicted that both the pilot and the plane would disintegrate at Mach 1, or that the pilot would lose his voice, revert in age, or be severely buffeted. This is what Chuck Yeager said in his own biography, and I think it's worth sharing with you tonight in a sense of wanting to inspire you to believe just a little bit more. And that is this. He said, quote, "The faster I got, the smoother the ride. Suddenly, the Mach needle began to fluctuate. It went up to 0.965 Mach, and then it tipped right off the scale. I thought I was seeing things," he said. "We were flying supersonic and it was as smooth as a baby's bottom. Grandma could be up there sipping lemonade. I was thunderstruck. After all the anxiety, after all the anticipation, breaking the sound barrier was really a letdown. The sonic barrier, the unknown, was just a poke through jello, a perfectly paved speedway. Later, I realized that the mission had to end in a letdown because the real barrier wasn't in the sky, but it was in our knowledge and experience of supersonic flight. And what Chuck Yeager did was he broke the human barrier. You are in a quest of breaking your own human barriers. This, in essence, is almost a spiritual discussion, because I believe that we didn't come to earth to get through this event or this life process. We came to earth to get from it. And our goal shouldn't be to meet a quota. Our goal should be to reach our highest potential, to become all that we are capable of becoming. My hope for you is that you stay focused, that if you don't give up on your dreams, they won't give up on you. You've got what it takes. I hope that one or two things that I've said tonight is useful for you. If you don't have my book, If You Think You Can, it was written 10 years ago this year. And I promise you, without batting an eyelash, that if you read that book, it will make a difference for you. The principles are as true today as they have ever been. And I thank Mr. Savula for endorsing that book early on and pointing me in the direction of Harlan C. Stonecipher, who changed the veracity, and the angle of my business to what it is today, of which I am richly blessed. I appreciate all of you and love you, and may you with this holiday season find yourself serving others and reaching out to others and being a delight to those that you come in contact with, and keep smiling. Mr. Dave Savula, it's been a pleasure, and I turn the time back over to you.
Well, TJ, let me just tell you something. I just realized now I'm just reminiscing back, thinking about the time that we did talk, and I hope at some point I had a little bit of a touch to help you through.
You did.
That time. But let me tell you, what you did tonight was absolutely phenomenal. It's so directed to how we need to be thinking and how we need to be acting and how we need to be, really centering ourselves around the people that are moving in the right direction. And that's where you learn from it. And what you've done over the years is you've acquired that, that flavor. And with some of the people you mentioned tonight, Charlie Tremendous Jones, I remember him many years ago, Og Mandino, Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, all the people that when I was a kid, very young kid, 17, 18 years old, I got a chance to meet with them and talk and hear them, and they were inspirational, and they did have an impact on my life. So tonight, I believe you did have a great impact on the information that you gave to people, and I hope people will get your book and read your book and benefit from that. And TJ, we're going to look forward to having you some of the functions, maybe in Oklahoma, one of our breakout sessions, okay?
That would be great. I would love it. That'd be awesome.
All right, everybody. Hey, appreciate everybody. Wednesday night, we got a recruiting call. God bless everybody. Have a blessed day. And again, thank you, TJ, and the entire Hoisington family, which has been a big impact on my life. God bless everybody. Good night.
So there you go. That's how you roll. What a great man Dave Savula is. What a great man Harlan C. Stonecipher was. What a great man I've met, throughout the business of your LegalShield business. Wonderful people. And the difference that they have made in other people's lives. I say, hang on to the vision. This is the greatest country in the world to achieve opportunity. I got people calling me now, so bear with me. Maybe I should turn this on. I want to just leave a couple thoughts with you. So I'm going to turn this off as my phone's going to start ringing off the hook here. I just want to say that you've got what it takes, but you got to master your thinking. If You Think You Can was all about thoughts. So I want to give you a couple bonus thoughts here that we didn't have time for on this call that could be beneficial to you. As a little bit of jest and fun, during the Masters golf tournament many years ago, golfer Mac McClellan had been playing poorly. "Honey," he said, "I'm playing so badly I'm afraid I might hit somebody," said McClellan to his wife prior to the start of the second round. His tee shot on the first hole hit his wife and knocked her unconscious. Wow, how's that for predicting behavior? Hey, she can't say that he didn't warn her. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what? Thoughts and ideas and words have an impact on our performance, have an impact on our happiness, have an impact on our lives. Maravich, his words foretold his death several years ago. It said that he said, "I don't want to play ball for 10 years in the NBA and die of a heart attack at age 40, unquote. I don't want to play for 10 years in the NBA and die of a heart attack at age 40. And guess what happened? It's a little scary, but that's exactly what happens. On a Tuesday at age 40, he died with a heart attack. It's unbelievable, the thoughts that we have and the impact that those thoughts can have in our world. Here's another thought that I had that I wanted to share with you. The key is visualizing the new. So you can see my little notes and stuff that I've had over the years. I keep them in my little binder. And that is visualize the new and become dissatisfied with the old. When you do that, you'll begin to notice the blemishes. And when you begin to notice the blemishes, then all of a sudden, right, you start to gravitate. You gravitate away from whatever The current reality is, if you're focused on the blemishes, toward a better reality. So you've got to look at where you're at today and say, you know what? It's not the best that I can be. Why can't I stretch for the stars, right? Some people say, don't even stretch for the stars, right? But I say stretch for the stars. You might land on the moon. Some people don't even reach for the moon and they don't even get out of orbit. So I encourage you to reach and grow. And part of doing that is noticing what is not working in your world and saying, I'm going to change that. I'm going to do some things differently. I think I also wrote down here, visualizing a better level of quality or customer service or home environment or business or financial success. If you are not dissatisfied enough, it will not cause you to grow. And you want to be caused to grow. The last thing I'll share with you, and then I'll bring this to a close, is never give up. Never give up. Dave Kimes, Olympic rifle marksman, tried first for the Olympics in 1960, but didn't make it beyond the qualifying rounds. He tried again in 1964 and finished 10th. Again in 1968. And in 1972, he failed to qualify. In 1976, it took close inspection of several judges with magnifying glasses to drop Kimes from 2nd to 5th. Again, he didn't make the team. Finally, in 1980, at age 39, Dave made the Olympic team, and that year was the first time in history that the United States didn't compete in the Olympics. Wow. How would you feel? Oh my gosh. But you know what? The reality is every success in life has failed many times. Over and over and over. And the quicker you can fail and the faster you can fail, the better you will be on the right path. Don't go where the path may lead. Go where there is no path and leave a trail. You are unstoppable. I wish you great success. Believe in yourself. Believe in possibilities. Lift others in a positive way, especially in this season and in any time. Seek to serve. If you're a leader or a manager in your organization, serve your people, lift your people, and do it with a smile on your face. Why can't we be kids again? Why can't we be positive when we're talking to people? Why do we have to be so stuffy sometimes? The average adult smiles about 20 times a day. The average child smiles 400 times a day. What side do you want to live on, right? It's an attitude. What side do you lean? I hope you lean toward the positive, toward the bright, toward the hopeful. And if you'll do that and be not faithless, but believing, I tell you what, your success is right around the corner. I wish you the very best tonight, and may the best of your past be the worst of your future. Good night.